Don't think so. We are live.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Really happy to be joined by Jenny Blackhurst. Do you want to start us off, Jenny, with an intro to you and your books?
Okie doke. So I'm Jenny Blackhurst, and I've been writing for what year are we in? 2025. Oh, I've been writing since 2013. Um, and well, actually, I started in 2012, but it took me a long time to write my first book. So my first book was published 2014 in paperback, and I think I've had 11 books out since then, maybe 10, and maybe this is my 11th. So that's my latest book, The Final Wife, and that's out on April the 17th, I believe. Psychological thrillers for 9 of them, and then I went a bit off piste for a couple to do a couple of like locked room detective mystery type stories. Just a bit of fun. It was just a bit of a hobby piece, to be honest. But they got picked up by a publisher, and they've been optioned for a TV series as well, so that's quite exciting. So
That
we're
is,
hoping that goes ahead. Um, yeah, so that's about it, really. That's quite quick for a 10-year career, isn't it?
yeah, very well surmised. I don't know if I could do it that quickly. But yeah, and it's interesting news about the locked room mysteries being optioned.
Yeah, so they're optioned by a company called E1 Entertainment, with Gaspin Media, who have been taken over recently by Lionsgate. And I know that they got a writer on board recently, and she's written a pilot. And so they're going out to studios soon to see, fingers crossed for like Netflix or somewhere big like that to pick it up, Paramount or something like that, to see if they pick it up. And then it'll make its way to screens. It's a long process though. I didn't realise just how long the process was to get something on the TV. I didn't realise it'd be a lot. Like novel writing is slow, not the writing bit necessarily, even if you write fast, but traditional publishing is slow, and then TV is even slower.
So one of our favourite questions to ask in the group is if your books were optioned for like Netflix, what character would you like to play?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me who to cast, so I was furiously thinking about who I would cast, and I wasn't prepared for that. Well, better though, I know straight away I would definitely like to play Sarah. So Sarah Jacobs is a con artist, and she works with her crew, and her crew is run by her father. So she's the prodigal daughter, of Frank Jacobs. He's one of the biggest con artists in the UK, under the guise of a successful businessman. So they run this sort of underground crew of thieves and yeah, con artists and magicians, sleight of hand, and all sorts of cool tricks. And she loves mysteries, and she loves golden age detective mysteries. And so yeah, she was a lot of fun to write. So she'd definitely be fun to play.
What are the locked room ones called? Because I've new to your writing with The Final Wife.
Oh, really? Okay. So they're under JL Blackhurst. And I wish now, see my office in the back garden, which is gorgeous. My dog chewed through the internet wire, so I can't. I would usually do my interviews and things with a big, huge bookcases behind me and looking all grand. And I would have my book, so I'd be like, oh well, here it is. But actually, I'm in the house today, so I can't do that. Um, but they're under JL Blackhurst. The first one's called Three Card Murder, and the second one's called Smoke and Murders. And the first one is where we meet Sarah, the con artist. Well, we meet her sister first, Tess, who's a detective, and she's estranged from her con artist family. And they're half sisters. They both share this infamous Frank Jacobs, the father. Um, and so yeah, they share the same father, and she's a detective and on the other side of the law, and she's trying to solve this, her very first murder case, which happens to be a locked room mystery. And the victim the only person this detective can think of that might want him dead is her and her sister from a long time ago. So she tracks down her sister to find out if her sister's the one that killed him. And her sister, they get together to solve this locked room puzzling mystery. It's like Jonathan Creek meets Hustle.
Yeah, it sounds very up my street. I'm gonna have to
I'm
go
just,
and
yeah, hunt those. Well, I can send you a copy, so you can let me know your address, and I'll send you a copy. I've
yeah,
got
nice.
tons of those ones actually. Um, but yeah, so I suppose I'm supposed to be here to be talking about this like thrillers, not those ones probably. But
Well, I don't think it matters. Our group tend to read um, widely and prolifically. So I think if we mention as many books as possible,
yeah, crime is crime, isn't it? So
yeah, everyone's going to be down to buy a few books. We've got a hello from Donna who's watching. She also
uh,
interviews authors. You might.
yes, I think I've spoken to Donna before. Wait there, let me see. Oh, I just pressed chat now to see the comments and can't get off it because I'm on my phone, so I'm not going to mess around with that anymore.
You can't see the comments anymore. It doesn't pull through.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Just one of those things that it just stopped doing, and I've no idea why.
Well, I'm not going to try and figure it out for you, sorry, but that's not
No.
my. I'm more likely to just cut myself off altogether.
Can't blame a dog either in this house.
Or
Which
you can blame my dog if you want. We blame her
oh,
for everything.
poor dog. Is she likely to come and visit us this evening, or?
No, because my husband's taken her and he's under strict instructions to keep the kids and the dog away. I did usually if I have a Zoom meeting, she's like up here, but I'm usually just listening to when I do Zoom calls. It's like on courses and things like that, and I'm just listening. So there's just this face here listening with me. So. She's very cute though. She's a beagle.
Yeah, so we like visits from animals
Oh, okay. Next time I'll let her in.
in this group. I like them in general. Actually, I'm a teacher, and we do our parents' days online. And I always tell the kids if I get to meet their pets online,
Oh, wow.
we get extra like nice comments. I'm like, I'm always down for a pet, like just coming onto the
So my
stream,
friends are teachers, and in their school they've got like a little farmyard. They've got goats in their school,
which is brilliant.
which is brilliant, isn't it? So I wish I'd gone to a school with goats. They've got
Hmm.
chickens, goats, rabbits, all sorts. I know rabbits aren't part of your traditional farmyard animal, but the kids love them. So,
We had some visit once, and I got to hold a baby goat, and it was brilliant. It was like the best day
oh,
ever. I
yeah,
was
we
like,
live in the countryside, so we do quite a few farm visits for school and stuff.
yeah, that must be lovely. Going back to books though,
Sorry, yeah.
we are very distracted. The Final Wife. Um, we try not to give spoilers away, so I'm trying to think of the best way to word all my questions about this because I have many. It's really cleverly written.
Thank you.
I really liked it.
Um,
I like the way that you tell the story from all the women's point of view.
so I've avoided doing that for 10 years because I think that if you're going to do something like that, you need to be able to make them all very different voices so you know whose voice you're in. And I've only just felt like maybe I could manage that because it's a really difficult skill to write from. They're not massively different in age, so it's not like I'm writing with a 90-year-old woman and a 14-year-old girl. They're all similar sorts of ages, um, and they're all similar class as well. They're not so I'm not writing with two different really posh and then a well, more like I speak, but a more casual way of speaking. Um, so yeah, it was really hard to differentiate between all four women.
But it works in the it might be hard to differentiate, but in the story it works really well.
Thanks.
I
That's what I
thought
was
it
hoping for.
yeah, no, it does. And I quite liked that sort of I mean, for a start, we've got like a male victim of the crime, haven't we? We've not
About
got
time too, hey?
which is quite a refreshing change. And then I like how you've got sort of all the perspectives sort of telling the story of the crime, the people who
Yeah,
are kind of involved.
yeah, which one? They all wanted him dead, so sort of which one? Well, they all wanted him, and then they all wanted him dead. It's like, what, who's in love with him and who hates him? And I think that's sort of the way sometimes we can feel about people, is even when we really strongly fall out of love with someone, there's still that sort of whisper of, but I used to love them, and you still know what you used to love about them. But I definitely think he deserved it, which is a good. It's good from a victim who deserves their fate, I think. Yeah, and a man for a change. Take that. So
Yeah, he's not the nicest of men, is he?
nope,
Our victim. And I
no.
think that's kind of established quite early on that you don't.
Oh yeah, that's definitely not a spoiler. We're not supposed to
Yeah.
like him. No
No one
sympathy
feels
here.
bad that he's dead.
No, absolutely not. No. No, in fact, I kind of wanted some sympathy towards all of the women, whichever one did it. Um, oh, it's hard to speak about without spoilers, isn't it?
It really
But
is, isn't it?
I'm hoping that some of the women come across it at least a little bit sympathetic. Um, but also, um, yeah, mysterious, as in you don't know if you can have sympathy with them because you don't know if they're a stone cold killer or not.
Do you feel like, because I know you've written it as like a domestic thriller, but our policewoman who is in it feels like she probably has more to tell?
I have
Is
this
that going to
problem. I have a real problem when I write anything with like anything, any domestic thrillers that might use a police officer character, because I enjoy writing each of my characters. um a domestic, usually you wouldn't focus heavily on the police. I did it in a book I wrote called The Girl Who Left. It's a psychological thriller, and it's supposed to center on um a woman. I don't get me started with the girl thing, but a woman who, when she was a girl, her father was went to prison for killing her best friend when the two girls were 5 years old. And then on the 25th anniversary of the little girl's death, um, another girl goes missing from the same from Catherine's old garden on Anglesey. And so she has to go back and find out if her dad really was the killer, and why he did it. Um, and so that started out as, again, psychological thriller. And then I thought, I think I need something. I need to focus on the police investigation as well, looking for this little girl. And to do that, I need a police officer because I need to see some of it through their eyes. Catherine wouldn't see the whole thing. And then I just got so into writing this woman that all the readers were like, "Well, we're going to see more of her, right?" And I was like, "No, sorry, that story's done. We're not seeing anymore." And the same with Rebecca. I so much enjoyed writing. Well, DS Dance, isn't she? But I so much enjoyed writing her that I'm like, oh, maybe I could use her again. I don't. She's not supposed to be a recurring character, but I just really enjoy writing my characters, so I want to use them all again.
I feel like she could come back. I feel like there's like you know bits about her past and stuff from the story, don't you? But I feel like there's things that are kind of left a little bit unanswered about her. So she could
Yeah,
come back and we could find out more about her.
yeah, she's a complex character, not too complex. She doesn't come with like, the drinking problem and the ex-wife and or like your normal hard-boiled detectives. She's not that complex in that way, but she's complex in the sense of, there's a lot of layers to her. She's not just a Mary Sue. She's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And she's got the relationship with Jimmy, which they wanted me to cut down a little bit. But I was like, no, I like that we get to know her a bit. Um,
I liked Jimmy as well. I thought he was quite.
Me too. Jimmy's the type of boy I would have gone for when I was younger. When really we should be going for Tom, shouldn't we? Because he's more suitable. But yeah, Jimmy's definitely the type of lad I would have gone for. And he
I
tries, doesn't he? Tries.
He does. I liked her start the morning where she's like, I should get up and say some kind of inspirational thing and do these things, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to stay in bed. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
what?
I mean, that's me. That's a lot of me. Like, I know all the right things I should be doing. I know I should be getting up and writing a gratitude journal, but that's 5 minutes I could have in bed. She's very much like me in that respect. Like, I actually know I could achieve so much, but I can't be bothered. So yeah, that's when
I think she's a woman after a lot of people's hearts. To be honest, if there's anything between a choice of getting up any earlier or staying in bed, my option is probably going to be max time in bed.
Yeah, she's full of good intentions.
She is. And I like that about her. I'm like, she's very real. It makes her more real as a character.
Yeah, and I think that's why I enjoy writing my detectives. The same with Maggie, in The Girl Who Left. She's my detective, in that one, and she's having an affair with a married man, and she's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but because you're not trying to mislead people about them. Because in a domestic thriller, you're always trying to be like, well, is this an unreliable narrator? Do we trust this person? Do we trust this person? Whereas with our detectives, it's kind of a given that we can trust those for the most part. So you can be really honest with the reader about them and about their lives. And I think that's probably why I get so into writing them, because I don't have to try and trick anyone, and I don't have to try and hide bits of their lives in order to create a motive. I can just be completely blunt about this is who she is. Take her as she is. Love her or hate her.
Are your other psych thrillers with Canelo?
So I think this is my fourth with Canelo. I always mess this up, so I'll do it on my fingers. I've got The Girl Who Left was my first one with Canelo, then The Hiking Trip, The Summer Girl, The Final Wife. So four with Canelo, and then I've got five with Headline. From when I first started writing. That's How I Lost You, Before I Let You In, The Foster Child, The Night She Died, and Someone Is Lying, which was re-released as The Perfect Guests. So yeah, five with Headline, four with Canelo, and then the two JL Blackhurst ones there with HQ. So I've been around.
But we in our group we're very big fans of Canelo.
Oh right, okay, yeah, they do. They've got some really good books out.
Mostly for that reason. Like I don't think there are many Canelo books I've read that I've not like thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, yeah. And the covers are great as well. I love the cover of this one. It's just all dark and brooding. I don't know if you can see it properly actually, because my lighting isn't great, but it's like a woman stood over like a grave, and just very spooky. Yeah, I always love their covers, and they've got some brilliant authors.
Yeah. I a lot of my favourite crime authors write for Canelo.
Yeah, yeah, mine too.
Which is why we're a fan of them in the group.
Yeah, they so I joined Canelo two oh, I'm losing track of my years, 2 or 3 years ago, when they were still quite small, but they've just been taken over as well by DK, which are Penguin Random House. So I don't know if we'll get little penguins on our books or not now.
Oh, that'd be cool,
Good,
wouldn't it?
wouldn't it? That would be good, wouldn't it? I think they'll keep it separate though, if I'm honest.
What are the differences then from writing with someone? Did you say your other ones were with?
Headline and HQ.
So
Um,
they're a little bit bigger, aren't they? So what's the difference between being with
I think
someone like
it's
Headline and Canelo?
So I think the main difference is the fact that, uh, well, actually no, because Canelo, all my books are in the works, and um, with Canelo, you find your books in really obscure places. So, like, I went to I was on the pier in Llangollen. No, Llandudno. I don't know if you know Wales, but I was on a pier in Llandudno, and there was a bookstore, a tiny bookstore on a pier, and all my books were there. And like a Percy Throwers um garden centre type place, and a Charlie's garden centre. So yeah, with Canelo, they try really hard to get your books, because the supermarkets aren't picking them up from Canelo yet. They work a lot harder to get them into these funny places that you'll just turn up and be like, I had no idea I would see my books here. Whereas with Headline and HQ, the books were in the supermarkets. Um, I think really that's the biggest difference, is the types of places you're going to see your books. Because actually, Canelo have just done so well at everything else, because it used to be that the bigger your publisher, the more likely you were to get festivals and things like that, Capital Crime, etc. But Canelo have just done really great at getting me panels and things, interviews. So, like, yeah, they're really good. So there isn't massive differences, to be honest.
Are you on any panels at festivals this year?
Um, no, actually, I'm not, because I don't know if it's COVID, but I've got really, really antisocial. If I have to leave my house, I'm like, do I really want to do it? Maybe not. Um, and I think it was the sort of the years surrounding COVID, and also it normalized doing things like this, which I'm like, oh great, I can wear my tracky bottoms while I do this, and I don't have to leave my house. I don't have to get a train, and I live in the middle of nowhere as well, so it's not like it's just a quick journey for me, which I can't really use the excuse, because some of my friends who live in Scotland are always at everything, and my Irish friends are always there as well. So haven't really got any excuse for that. But yeah, I live in the countryside, and I'm in a little bubble, and I just think I'd like to stay here. So yeah, I tend not to. I think Kate's got me on something in Manchester. Is there a little festival going on in Manchester? I think maybe. But no, I don't think I'm doing Harrogate or anything like that this year. I did Scotland. Was it last year or the year before? Maybe. Um, Bloody Scotland. That was brilliant. Um, Chiltern Kills. That's a good one. That is like quite recent, but yeah, this year no, not for me.
No, fair enough. I only tend to do Harrogate. Um,
It's so exhausting. Don't you find it really exhausting? Like,
yeah,
you need to really G yourself up for it.
I like it. I find that when I'm sociable like that, though, I need a few days after to
Hmm.
can't like
Yeah,
unwind.
yeah, I'm exactly the same. I just find it really exhausting, and like the older I get as well, the more the thought of like all those people. Um, I might go, but yeah, it would be a last minute thing if I do. Like if a hotel pops up and I think, oh, go on, I'll go this weekend.
See, I go because I don't need a hotel. It's like about an hour from where I live.
Oh,
Um,
is it? Oh, brilliant.
yeah, on the train, which is why I like it. It was like Bradford Literature Festival because that's even closer. I can catch the bus to Bradford.
Bradford. Are
My
you
house.
getting a Universal Studios? Is
Don't
that
know.
Bradford?
Is it?
Or is
Could
that
be.
Bedford?
Might be Bedford.
It might be
Bradford's
Bedford.
like
I
West
saw
Yorkshire.
something this morning, and it was definitely a B. But yeah, 6 years. Universal Studios is coming to the UK.
There you go.
That's exciting.
Probably not to Bradford. I wouldn't have thought.
Maybe not.
No,
Maybe it was Bedfordshire.
no, no, no. Bit of a rundown. We're kind of West Yorkshire town, but it's got a really good literature festival.
Oh,
I like
fantastic.
that one. And we run one for the book group, like a live one in Leeds, which is quite good.
A festival?
Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay. Cool.
a
Oh,
little
I
day
might.
one.
Yeah, that'd be nice then.
We've
Might
got
pop
some
in.
nice stuff going on this year at it.
And when do you run that? Did you say?
It is in September this year.
Oh right. Okay. Very nice.
It's normally in June.
Why
Much
have you
sooner.
moved it?
Huh? I can't remember why we moved it. There was a really good reason.
There usually is. Yeah, and then a few years later, you can't remember what it was.
I have no idea why we've moved. It's that this year is like when we've moved it. It's always we've done it. This is
Right.
the third time, and the other two times were in June. And I can't remember why we moved it this year, but we moved it. It'll work out.
Oh, sorry. I'm just going to adjust myself. I'm just wondering if I can actually.
So, what drew you into like the psychological thriller kind of genre
Um,
or
I
domestic? I don't know how you like to define yours.
I call them psych thrillers because that's what we called them when I first started, and then they've been through some iterations of like domestic noir and all that. But yeah, I still call them psych thrillers. When I'd just given birth to my son, I got made redundant from my job. He was only 4 weeks old, and I had this really sort of it was this really turbulent time of like losing my identity at the same time as um, becoming a new mum, and sort of you lose your identity a bit when you become a mum. I was just Connor's mum, at play groups and at the doctors and things like that. And then I lost my job, and it was, oh, what do you do? And it was, well, nothing. I don't have a job. And so I'd lost both of those bits of me at the same time. And I used writing as sort of a way to get a bit of myself back, a bit of my own identity. And I was really sort of conflicted about being a mum. I loved being a mum, but I was absolutely certain that social services were waiting around every corner to take my baby away from me. I was like, I can't believe anyone's let me have a baby. And they just let you take it from the hospital, and then it's yours. And I couldn't even keep a plant alive at that point, and I still can't actually 20 years later. But um so yeah, and I was just very much like, I know I'm going to mess this up. I know I'm going to do something wrong. And or even if I'm not doing something wrong, it's going to look to other people like I am, and felt very sort of judged and all eyes on you. And I'd got this monster truck of a pushchair, and we lived on a main road, and I'd pushed this pushchair out of the front door and got it down the step because we lived in an ex-council house, so it had a big slab, and I'd got it down that, and then realised I'd left my purse at the top of the stairs. So I ran backwards up the stairs and sort of did this to look for my purse on the thing. And I could see the baby at all points. Ran back downstairs as quick as I could. And because we're on a main road, the whole time I was walking to Tesco's, I was imagining that someone was on the phone to social services saying I was leaving my baby outside unattended. So I was very much sort of in the grip of this. And that put me in the place of um, what people think they see about you as a mother versus the truth. And I ended up coming up with this idea of a woman who everyone around her thinks she's got postnatal depression because of little things like that. Um, and then she she wakes up after a particularly exhausted episode, and she's told that she's killed her baby. And she's so exhausted, she can't remember anything from the previous night. And she's told that she is suffering from postnatal depression and she's killed her baby. And she goes to um, a facility for 4 years, a rehabilitation facility for 4 years. And when she gets out, she receives, on like just as she's released, she received a picture of a 4-year-old child with her son's name on the back. And she realizes that he might still be alive. And then she questions everything she knew about herself and about her, like what she's capable of. And yeah, it came really from my sense of losing my identity. And I was so exhausted, always so tired, so upset, that if I couldn't remember what had happened and someone had told me that I'd done something terrible, I was like, would I believe them? Maybe I would believe that about myself at that moment in time, because I just didn't know who I was. That just sort of exhaustion took over, and that loss of my identity. And I was just like, what would it take to convince me? How much would it take to convince me that I was capable of something terrible? Um, and yeah, so Susan, the main character in that book, she's convinced that she's done this terrible thing, and then she finds out she might not have done, and then it's about her finding out if her son's dead, and if not, what happened on that night, etc.
Donna has said that she's glad you could use such scary moments to create something good.
Ah, yes.
Even
Well,
remembering what you're saying about going backwards at the thing to like see always have your baby in the thing, and remembering stories my mum told me about my brother when he was young, and they just used to like put the babies outside in their buggies,
yeah.
like the pavement, just leave them there.
Yeah, my mother-in-law left my husband outside, no, my husband's brother outside the butcher's once, and walked home and forgot he was there, and then had to go back for him because she'd forgotten that she'd left him there. Um, but yeah, I was definitely convinced that someone was going to be like, "Oh my God, she's abandoned her child." Um, yeah, it's a weird time just becoming a mum, and that sort of kick-started something off in me. And then I was stuck with psych thrillers because that one took off and it sold thousands and thousands of copies. Um, and yeah, I was then stuck with like, that's your brand now, that's who you are. And I love psychology. That's what my master's degree is in, psychology. So, and domestic thrillers, they're what you know about, aren't they? You know about home life and a normal person. So I didn't have to do too much research, which is great. Um, and so yeah, I just carried on doing those and found that that's what I really enjoyed doing.
You don't have to go down the route of having all the procedures like completely right either, and all of that. You know, people are going to second guess you about like.
Well, unless you're really stupid and then you decide to add a police officer in for no apparent reason, um, or two, and then you have to do both. You have to do the psych thriller and you have to learn the procedures. In my detective fiction ones, though, the locked room mysteries, don't look at those if you're looking to learn how to be a police officer, because they throw those out of they throw the manual out the window. They're purely fun, we're not going to be believing that this is how the police service actually works, or I hope no one is, because they're just a bit of fun.
I think that's all right though. I think if you're setting out your stall as being like this is fun, people will accept it.
Yeah,
If
I'm definitely
you're,
not trying to
you know,
pretend they're gritty, hard boiled.
yeah, if even in yours are psych thrillers, if you're setting out to write a police procedural, I would expect you to get like the procedures and the forensics and stuff right. If you're writing a police officer in like a domestic thriller, I think I'd be more forgiving. I think I'd just be like, you know,
Yeah, I think people are they do tend to be more forgiving in the psych thrillers because well, I know I certainly am, because I know that it's not the purpose of the book isn't to be accurate about the police service. The purpose of a psych thriller is to entertain, isn't it? Um so yeah, I think I would be a bit more forgiving in those. Although I do keep it real with the psych thrillers, or as real as I can. All mistakes are my own, but yeah, as real as I can make it, without first-hand knowledge. Whereas in the detective-y ones, I just knew from the start that these weren't going to be, a detective is never going to work with a con artist. So if you're accepting that as the premise, then you're accepting that we're not going true to real life in these books. The
well, I
setting is all true though. They're set in one set in Brighton and one set in Lewis. Um, and I actually did more research into the Lewis bonfire traditions than I did into the police and the police force in those books.
Nice. I kind of like the crime books where they're sort of merged with something a bit crazy, though. I think that's
Yeah, I
probably
think the mistake I kind of maybe made with those is they were purely for my entertainment. So they don't fit in the sort of cozy crime bracket because the crimes are, quite grisly murders. And because you've not just got your amateur sleuth, you've got a detective and a police force and certain rules they've got to live within. So it's not cozy crime, but it's not hard boiled crime. It's not your Val McDermid's and your Mark Billingham's, and it's not psych thrillers. So they became a bit hard to pitch those ones. I think it was more of just a case of they're just fun, just read them and enjoy them. But that's when you've got a publisher trying to pitch them to things, it's a bit harder. I'm hoping if they get this TV series, it's a bit more sort of Death in Paradise, I suppose.
Yeah, I was going to say, doesn't the Thursday Murder Club have a policeman? It has two policemen in.
I'm not going to pretend I've read it, but I did start reading it. Um, but I think it's mainly centered around the retirement home, isn't it? Because I don't think I'd got as far as the police officer joining in. But then again, I don't think I've got as far as any crime actually happening in it yet. Um, but I mean, the characters are really lovable, aren't they? So it doesn't matter so much.
No, and I think that's a thing that draws me to a lot of fiction is really believable characters.
Hmm.
And I think I want them to be like quite three-dimensional. And I guess in psychological thriller, that's the thing that you have to do really well because they're often a very small, kind of close knit group, aren't they? So you have to make them all work as a.
Yeah, and believable, but also they're going to be doing slightly unbelievable things because if they all did believable things, you wouldn't have much of a story. So you've got to give them really good reasons for doing these unbelievable things. And I think that's the key is getting their reasons, their why so believable that you're willing to believe that they would do this, that, and the other. Because a lot of time, let's be honest, a lot of psych thrillers would be solved straight away if the person just picked up the phone and phoned the police. And so we have to explain why they're not doing that, or we have to sort of put in where they do that and the police ignore them, or you've got to make them believable enough that we're willing to go, actually, I think that character would just do this instead. Or, well, they're so well drawn that I can imagine that person acting in that way. And that's a challenge, but I like being challenging with my characters. I enjoy writing characters, and so yeah, I like the challenge there.
I'm surprised from the way that you've described some of your psych thrillers that they've not been picked up yet. And I don't.
So the first one, How I Lost You, the baby one, that has been optioned by a screenwriter in Hollywood, and he and his co-writer are working on a script for that. But then they had the writers' strike, and then they had all the fires in California. So I think that sort of slowed down a lot of their work on that. So I haven't heard from those for a couple of months actually. But yeah, they were developing the first one. Yeah, the others, I mean, to be honest, I don't write with screen in mind, but I always have one sort of tiny pinky finger on the pulse of what might work well. Because there's certain things that just won't work on the page that you can sort of maybe disclose or not disclose on a page, but on a screen wouldn't work as well. And I do tend to think sometimes, would this work if it was TV? But yeah, nothing with the others yet.
So I interviewed Ben Aranovich a while ago.
He's so
Like
funny,
some of
isn't
the
he?
London series, yeah, he's hilarious. but he used to write for TV, and he was like, basically wrote things in the rivers of London that would be so expensive to film because he could just get away with it. Or he can just blow up Covent Garden and do things, and no one it's really expensive if you wanted to
Yeah.
make, but
I was
when it
actually
comes
talking to my dad
to
about the same thing yesterday when we went for a meal, and I said about how some things are like you have to be careful with when you're writing for TV specifically or film, because you can't just set it anywhere. You've got to be able to have that. You've got to be able to go to that place and film in that place. And yeah, like you say, you can't just blow up Covent Garden without it getting a bit expensive. Whereas we have much more freedom in our books. I could literally write about being on the moon, and I don't have to. It doesn't cost me anything apart from the trip that the tax-free trip there to research.
yeah, obviously.
Which is
But
why I'm certain Robert Thorogood wrote about the Death in Paradise about being on a Caribbean island. Although maybe he's from the Caribbean, I don't know.
just so you could have a lovely trip.
Yeah, yeah. I always see when they're written in far-flung places and I think, was this a research trip?
You never been tempted to do that yourself? Write something that where you can have a research trip?
Brighton. So um I wrote the hiking trip is set in Canada, and I wrote that during the pandemic. So I was like, great, I can't go there. Couldn't go
Mhm.
anywhere. Um And so I just had to Google Maps that one. And then the Summer Girl is set in my favourite place. So the hiking trip is the West Coast Trail. So they're hiking along the West Coast Trail. And then the Summer Girl is set in one of my favourite places that I've never been, called Martha's Vineyard, off the coast of Massachusetts, America. And it's just so expensive that I mean you've got to be able to pay to go to these places in the first place in order to recoup the tax back. So yeah, it was just like there's no way my family would have let me go without them. So it just would have been like the most expensive research trip ever. But I would love to visit there. It's gorgeous.
I've been to Massachusetts, but not Hartford,
Oh,
Virginia.
have you?
Yeah, I've been to
Um,
Boston.
So Barack Obama's got a house on Martha's Vineyard. So if he is watching now, then maybe he could lend me his house for the summer.
Maybe. Well, you could hope.
Yeah, send him the video.
Mm. We do have some American members. I can't promise you Barack Obama. There's one.
Well, I mean, if any of them have a house on Martha's Vineyard, then if they want a writer in residence, then I'll definitely be up for that.
You've
And a
even
naughty beagle, because I can't leave the beagle.
no, he has to go.
Hmm.
He maybe just needs to make an appearance in all your books as well. It just needs to be a naughty beagle.
So I haven't written my dog into my books yet, but I did think about some cozy crime, and I wondered if I should put the beag in. Um, yeah, so I haven't put her in yet.
I was going to ask you if you're going to write into other genres. Actually, now you've kind of, or would that be
Um,
too hard? Now you're established, do people expect like a psych thriller from you?
so Germany certainly do. So I have a very amazing publisher in Germany who expect me. I've only really carried on psych thrillers for so long because they expect psych thrillers from me. Whereas I'm out of contract with Canelo now at the moment after The Final Wife's been released. So if I wanted to, I could go into a different genre, but I'm actually writing another psych thriller at the moment. Um, so I'll at least have one more, I would have thought, if I can get it finished. I always want to write in other genres, but my problem is my idea generator works faster than my writing hands. So I've got all these ideas of things I would do if I only had the time. Bear in mind that I write full time and my kids are now 10 and 13 and can sort of at least keep themselves alive, you know. And so, but I still feel like I don't have enough time to write all the things I want to write. I started a romance But I think what I need to do is I need to write in cycles. So like when I'm ovulating, I can write the romance, and then when I, the end of the month, I'm like writing the psych thriller, and then go back to the romance 2 weeks later and just do it like that on and off.
Yeah, just go by what you're vibing with at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we've got romance potentially, cozy crime. Is there any genre you wouldn't write?
See, I was going to say historical. I wouldn't write in historical, but the one I'm writing now, I need to do a lot of historical research, but I wouldn't write in historical, actual straight historical crime, because I just get too much wrong. It's a lot of research, be a lot of pressure, and I'm a grade A procrastinator. So if you tell me I have to get all the historical details of something right, I will spend 6 years researching it, become like the ultimate master of it, and still not have written my book. But I know everything there is to know about ancient Egypt, or I don't know, the sewage system in Victorian times or something. So I'll just hyper focus in on something until I become an absolute expert, and then forget all about it and be like, oh, I'm bored now. Move on. So yeah,
Yeah,
probably never historical.
that's one of my favourite genres. A bit of
Oh,
historical crime.
I don't read it either, you see. So I think maybe that's something to do with it. I think writers often, the things that they read a lot of, they end up writing in. But I feel like I wouldn't know where to start with a historical crime. Sorry,
So well,
I've just had to flick someone out of the room. No, stop, go out. But see how well trained they are. They didn't even say a word. They just
they
backed
just
out of the room.
back out, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
What have you read recently and really enjoyed?
Um. Oh, I've been going through a phase of sci-fi. So not like romantasy or anything like that. I just read The Sphere by Michael Crichton, the guy that did Jurassic Park. And that was one of my favourite movies in the 90s. Just read the book of that. I've just read a bit of Lincoln Child's Link no. Douglas Child and Lincoln and Child. I can't remember which one's which. Preston and Douglas, Lincoln and Child. I've just read The Forgotten Room by it is Lincoln Child. That's his Jeremy Logan series, and that's a bit sci-fi slash parapsychology. Um, oh, The Rainfall Market. That's out of my usual genre as well, and that was really cute. That's really cozy, like the Japanese style cozy crime. That's not crime, cozy sort of markety slash bookstore books that are out. That was really cute. I'm just starting this Bad Manners by Amy Bayshore. She had a really good women's only charity launch, because her book's about do you remember a certain comedian was hosting a male only gala? And it was in the papers, and it got a bit of bad press for some reasons. Well, this book is sort of centered around one of those male gala type things, and some bad things happen. It's a feminist indictment of the male gaze. So that's quite good.
Okay. I'm reading The Bone Season at the moment, which is a bit fantasy thriller.
Yeah, yeah.
Really, really good.
And what's it about?
It's too hard to explain. Like basically, they're banning anyone who's got any kind of power as unnatural. And,
Okay.
and like this is set in London, but I think it's like in other countries as well. And one of the people, the main character is clairvoyant, and she's
Okay.
arrested for murder, and then expects to sort of essentially be killed and isn't.
Oh, that does sound good. Is that out now?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. been out for a while. I just discovered it recently and was like, this sounds really good.
I haven't seen that anywhere either. That's unusual.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
then
I'm really
I've
enjoying
been
it.
my TikTok's just full of feminist comedians at the moment. I must have gone through a phase of watching them, and now that's all I see on TikTok at the moment. And sourdough, people baking sourdough. So that's I haven't seen anything on BookTok for a while now.
I don't TikTok.
Oh, don't you?
No, I'm too epileptic, I've decided, for TikTok. The videos.
Oh yeah, yeah, they can be dangerous, can't they? And if you have auditory problems as well, because I get really cranky. I'm okay when I'm the one doing the scrolling, but if my son's sitting there and flicking through all these videos and I hear like the first few seconds of each one, it gets me really cranky. It like overstimulates my ears. So yeah, it's that short form. It's like watching a million short stories all in a day.
Donna has said she gets what you were saying about the historical thing. She thinks historical writers are nuts. Writing is hard enough. Why would you make it harder? And she says she's reading a book set in a school and it's hilarious, but she doesn't know what the title is, which is really helpful.
um,
Probably not very
what genre?
representative of being in a school either.
What genre is the school one?
She hasn't said.
Oh, you flicked out then. Sorry,
No,
it's not
she
said.
hasn't. She
She
hasn't
hasn't.
said no. But I work in schools and
Oh, you have enough of those in the day.
yeah. Also, I don't know how hilarious it. No, actually, I've got some good stories, but no one believes them.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I bet. I
if you're
sometimes TA for my son's school. Um, and yeah, it's a welcome change being around kids all day, isn't it? It's a welcome change from being on my own all day. Because it's quite a solitary game writing. So I'm used to my own company a lot, and then you go in and you've got like 30 kids who all want to tell you exactly what they've done. Um,
at the same
in
time,
at the same time, yeah, all really loudly.
yeah.
Do you know the one that's just walked in, the 13-year-old? Do you know what he's just texted me? It's popped up at the top screen. How long are you going to be? I need the smoothie machine washed.
Oh, nice.
He made a smoothie this morning and he hasn't washed it up, and he wants me to go and wash it up now so he can make another one now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's Maxwell's Reality.
Maxwell's Reality. Is it a children's book? That's like a children's book, doesn't it?
Does a little bit, doesn't it? That you
It's set
definitely
in a
don't want
school
that.
as well.
Oh, yeah, that's even worse. Children's books.
We read a lot of children's books, obviously having two kids, and I find that actually if I'm in for some escapism, I really like settling in with a kids book, even when they're not reading with me. I'm like, I'm just gonna read the Inheritance games again, or
Oh no, I like a bit of YA books. I love the Inheritance games. I really like
yeah, I
Ellie
suppose
Gould's
they're
book.
older children's books now, aren't they? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, we're getting to that age now. Although I did try and encourage my 13-year-old to read a bit of Stephen King the other day, and he was like, "I'm not reading that, it's terrifying." Whereas me, I'm pretty sure at 11, I had them under my covers with the torch, reading Stephen King.
I don't think I was Stephen King at that age because I was quite had quite an overactive imagination as a kid and used to think that the characters could come out of books, so I wouldn't read like really scary ones.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but I did have quite a wide variety of things I'd read.
yeah. I used to. Oh, well, in mysteries, I used to love a bit of Nancy Drew.
And the Hardy Boys, they were
I
great as
never
well.
read those ones. Yeah, I've heard of them, but yeah, I didn't read those ones.
I've got an older brother, so I think as much as I got like Nancy Drew and things, I used to get all of his old books. So
Yeah, yeah.
things like the Hardy Boys are like the male version. I mean, they were never written by an actual person either, were they? They were just like a team of people.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, there's no such person as like the person who wrote Carol as Nancy Drew or the Hardy Boys. There's just like a
Oh.
group of people all writing.
Caroline something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Caroline something.
but it wasn't a real person.
Oh, well, every day's a school day. I did not know that.
Did you not?
I'm
Yeah,
a
they were
little bit.
written by a
I feel
committee.
cheated now. I feel cheated.
Could one real person have written all the ones that there were?
They were only thin, though.
True. True.
I mean, I see the way some of these
Hundreds,
indie writers write, and blimey. Yeah, some people are prolific, aren't they? Well, not even all indie writers. Some traditionally published are too fast for their publishers. That's why Stephen King wrote under a different name, because he was too fast for his publishers. So they had to put him out in another name as well.
fair enough.
Hopefully
We've
that prolific.
only got a few minutes left, so the smoothie maker.
Oh yeah, I've got something brilliant to go to after this, the smoothie maker.
Get washed up. Do you want
I'm
to
hoping that if we leave it over a bit, then he might have done it. It's
might do it
unlikely.
for himself?
Mm, mm. What he doesn't seem to realise is it's self-cleaning. If you fill it with hot water and press the clean button, it does just clean itself. But because it's a ninja, it's a very sexy smoothie maker, so it will just clean itself. But he doesn't seem to have realised this yet.
He's also got a beagle that could clean it for him.
Yes, just put it on the floor. Oh, bless.
Then it'd be fine. Remind
I
us.
can imagine him doing that, don't? Yeah, I can imagine him just doing that. Just letting the beagle lick it all clean and then putting it back onto.
I think it's a boy thing. I think boys would do that.
Yeah, I've got 2 boys, and I can concur. They would.
Thinking what people like my brother and my nephews were like. They, you know,
Oh, I don't go into their rooms anymore. 10 and 13, and I'm like, oh, I can't go in there. You just need to, at the end of the week, just take a bin bag into your room and put everything in it. One for all the dirty washing and one for all the rubbish. That's it.
So remind everyone in the 2 minutes that we've got left, what they're gonna go away and buy. So
Oh,
remind
okay.
them
So
or pre-order because it's not quite out yet.
yes, so this is The Final Wife, and you can pre-order
Yeah.
that. That's out on the 17th of April. But while you're waiting, you could go back and get The Summer Girl or The Hiking Trip. The Summer Girl's Martha's Vineyard. Oh, and it's very lovely. The Hiking Trip on West Coast Trail. Or if you fancy a bit of UK-based fiction, The Girl Who Left is set on Anglesey Island. And yeah, so you can go and order any of those and get your fill while you're waiting for the final girl. Final
Brilliant.
wife, not the final girl.
My review of The Final Wife is already out, but I really enjoyed it.
Oh, is it? Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Well, it's on Goodreads and in our group. My review.
Oh, I don't go to Goodreads. I'll come to your group, but I don't go to Goodreads.
Fair enough.
I don't. Yeah, it's not good for authors' mental health to go to Goodreads.
Seems
But
fair.
yes, I'll definitely come over to the group and have a look.
All that's left to say is thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Take care. Oh, we've got a door opening. He's just